Did that work? Right, super excited today to share with you one of London's proper top Japanese master chefs. You'll remember him from the Wagyu Sando that we did a couple of years ago. Masaki Sugisaki is just like this absolute dedicated obsessive to flavour. And so today he's showing me Kamo Nanban, which is a bowl of noodles, udon noodles. He's going to show me how to make the noodles. He's going to show me how to do the duck. It's going to be like this absolute tour de force of incredible food for a bowl of noodles. So let's get into dine-ins and find out all about it. Masaki, tell me about the dish we're doing today.
Okay, so we are making the crazy udon noodle today. Now, a lot of people don't know about udon. It's a noodle, Japanese traditional noodle. Noodle is different from ramen noodle or soba noodle. Basically, it's very simple ingredient. Noodle itself is made from flour, salt, water. That's it. Shall we start working on the noodles?
Okay, chef.
Right.
Talk me through it.
Right. So basically, you need to dissolve the salt into water first. Very simple. Chuck it in.
Okay.
Mix it, mix it, mix it.
Sea salt.
Sea salt, yeah. This is the Japanese flour specifically made for udon noodle. So first thing first is the flour to be placed in a gastronome. Next, you make a well in the middle. Then around 90% of the water to be poured into the well, that's quite quickly. Let's start working on it. How you do is slow the fresh flour onto the water without making your finger wet. And at one point, obviously, your fingers start to get wet,
yes.
But don't you worry about that. Make the shape of your hands like this and mix it later.
Okay.
If you start to knead it, then it's gonna start to generating the gluten, but that's what you don't want at the moment.
So what I've got to concentrate on is like breaking down those big...
You just need to literally move around the hands like this. Keep on doing that. Yeah, exactly.
How's this looking?
Getting better.
Be nice.
But I'm Japanese, always be nice. Right, so shall we move on to the next stage, which is the combining all the bits together and then place it with your weight. It feels pretty dry at the moment, right? However, that's only because all the flour is not evenly hydrated yet. Pretty much ready. Now, fun parts.
Okay.
Let's step on it.
What?
Step on it. Did you take a shower this morning? So put it back in the gastronome. Just like a Japanese house. Entering a Japanese house, take your shoes off. So now you step on. What you need to achieve is just try split it evenly. Use your heel to put your weight on one point.
And so this is the traditional way it's done in Japan?
Exactly, exactly. This is exactly the way we make udon noodle.
He's lying. It's the first time it's ever been done.
Nobody knows.
Need strong core though. Really hard, so as it spreads out, the moisture of the flour.
Exactly. Forcing flour to soak up the water and then developing the gluten at the same time.
Just bring in the Wolverhampton squat method there.
Right, so now we're gonna put this sheet turned back into the bowl shape, making sure that you take off the air bubbles out.
I just love that Japanese cooking is so conscious that there's a reason for doing everything, isn't there?
Yeah, it is, always, always. So next step is to step again on the sheets and then we repeat the process.
Amazing. Look at that.
It's getting there.
And then, yeah.
We will rest them for 6 hours. This is for the generated gluten to be rested properly, and then also the maturing the flavor of the dough on its own. Then we will step it again just to finalize the amount of the gluten in there. Then we mature them for 18 hours. So this dough I prepared earlier they are already resting pretty much 24 hours. And it's ready to be stretched and cut into it. Only thing you need to remember to deal with this udon dough, as it contains more water and then it's soft and stretchy. If you make pasta, you're going to stretch it too much, which create the thin parts or a narrow parts, which is going to create the the issue. So what you need to do is that you need to be extremely gentle and then use both hands together to avoid that.
I think I can now see that in my mouth, in the bottom. You know what I mean? In the way it's silk, it's kind of silky, but a bit of chewiness in there as well, which developed through the proof of 24 hours. You're feeding it in, halfway through you gather, you bring it out, and then you've got to incorporate the flour at the same time, and you into a ball?
Yeah.
Into a ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will show you how. Simple. Don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. Now is the time. Yeah, put it on top. Dip the bottom in. Splash it on the board.
Here it is. My arms don't move anymore. That's the full extent of the twist of my arms. They don't do any more twisting. How do you do it now?
Okay. You make this hand free. You just need to twist it, twist it. Put your thumb in.
Because I was trying to do that with my shoulders.
That I'm interested in. New technique. Here we go. Oh, you got it. You got it.
Oh, that's so cool. It's so cool.
Nice
Just
texture,
look
right?
at that. Next up, it's the dry-aged duck with senior sous chef Raymond. Chef,
hello there, John. All good, all good. I'm going to show you the duck today.
Okay.
This duck actually has been dry aged for 14 days. The next stage we're going to do, so we have some boiling water on, and we're going to hook it up from the back, blanch it for 10 seconds so it tightens the skin of the duck, and then the next process is we dry it for 18 hours with a fan on, and then we stuff it with hay to help it inside to release any excess moisture and give it a little bit of hay flavor.
Why are you going through all this process? What, dry aging it, then blanching it, what does that do to the duck?
So it gets the duck to the maximum amount of level of tenderness, juiciness and flavor. So once we remove the legs, we keep them aside because all we're going to do, remove all the bone, all the excess fat, mince it down twice through the mincer so it's super fine. And then we're going to use it for the next process of making the duck dashi. Oil gently to render the fat and have a super thin layer of fat. We take it off from the heat, so we want to cool it down to reduce any excess cooking of the flesh. And then we have a cooling spray.
Is it like liquid nitrogen?
It's very similar to liquid nitrogen, but it cools down instantly any surface. Quickly spray it off from the heat because it's very flammable. This is the finished product. You want to get a nice golden brown color. You can feel the meat is still super rare.
You feel that a lot of the fat's gone. It's not got the bulky nature that a normal duck breast has.
Yep.
And you can feel that the skin's like super wafer thin.
So the next step, it's all finished, all nicely golden brown. What we're going to do now is remove it off the bone and then gently smoke it.
Can I have a crack? Can I have a
Of course you can. Absolutely.
hope you're getting all these beautifuls and perfects, yeah? Is that okay, Chef?
That is perfect. Better than mine, actually.
Job done?
This is done, and then we're gonna do the smoking process.
Let's do it. Then Chef Raymond put some hot coals onto some wood chips to cold smoke the duck. Then he transfers the duck to a cooking liquor and sous vides it for 1 hour at precisely 54.5 degrees, so it's perfectly medium rare.
Now it's fully cooked for 1 hour, so the meat is still super juicy and it is not stressed at all. Now is the moment to stress it. So all we're gonna do is quickly sear it for, let's say, 10-15 seconds, just to caramelize all the sugars of the duck.
It looks so good, it looks so good. And so that's the duck breast done.
That is all done. There you go.
Thanks, Chef Free.
Enjoy.
I mean, look at that color. Here's yours.
Let's just go in. Oh, you've intensified everything, haven't you? That's exceptional. Awesome. Finally, it's the stock, which is a base of kombu and dried shiitake. To this, he adds leeks and the duck legs from earlier that have been twice minced into the stock to infuse for 30 minutes. Then he strains and adds 2 different types of bonito flakes, one with and one without the brown meat. This adds a dried, smoky fish taste with tons of umami. The final step is the sume, which is a cooking liquor which is made from a dried, sweet scallop reduction. Once that's done, it's matured for 2 weeks and then we're ready to rock.
So these are the ingredients ready. Before you finish off the noodle, it's important for you to be organized everything. Once you finish cooking it in the hot water, that is the timing you need to eat as soon as possible. All you need to do is just leave it as it is.
Okay.
For 3.5 minutes. After 3.5 minutes, we're gonna soak them in ice cold water. This is an extremely important process I want everybody to do because at this stage, the noodle obviously is cooked and softened.
Once the noodles have been shocked, he reheats them quickly for 15 seconds, then adds the duck stock and the tare and garnishes with the duck breast and 3 different types of leeks.
Toasted sesame oil is adding amazing nutty flavor onto the dish. Wow. There you go. Here's your noodle. Enjoy.
Thank you, Chef. Good on you. I just got it. How we filmed this film actually really does tell the story of how you eat this bowl of noodles, because the first thing with so many bowls of noodles, ramen, udon, whatever, is that there's not enough attention to detail on the noodles, whereas here, all that hard work, that 24-hour process, you immediately experience it. You immediately are just like, oh my God, wow. And then the next element that hits you, the stock, right? Like the stock is just so, you've got the cooking sauce that's got the sweetness from that scallop, and that's the key thing. That gives so much, it just gives so much like beautiful, delicate sweetness to it, but it's got the depth and the fish flavour that comes from the kombu, and the flavour of the sea, but then also from the different bonito flakes. But what's so surprising about it is, this is a clear stock, it's not a tonkatsu stock. But it's got so much depth. Like, that's what's so surprising about this bowl of noodles, is the depth of flavour without the fat. You know, sometimes you think, oh, is it worth all this effort for a dish? It is, yeah. I think what's amazing about it, Chef, is the way it's kind of a bit like a merry-go-round, in that, like, you start with the noodles and they're like, oh wow, that's amazing, and then you eat the stock and you've forgotten about the noodles now because the stock's so flipping good. Do you know what I mean though? And then you're like, oh, the duck, bloody hell. And then you're back to the noodles, you know what I mean? I think it's like seeing you go to all those levels of detail and then, you know, and then it delivering.
During the lockdown, myself as well, obviously I was working for takeaway service, but when I'm staying at home on my day off, hundreds of choices of delivery food, but nothing like this.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything is greasy, whatever, enough.
Yeah,
We've been, under the difficult situation for a long time now. So I wanted to bring the fun onto a table and also tasty food, healthy food.
I love it. Thanks, Chef.
Thank you very much.
Really good.
Thank
No,
you.
we can't shake
okay,
hands.
so,
Let's shit end to the film now.
Oh, mind your right hand. You're gonna stretch it. Right hand.
How bad was that?
It's a bit tricky, right?
A bit. I should charge him for the labour.
You don't think he's going to use yours, do you? He's never going to use those noodles.
Those noodles are amazing. Masaki, you're going to use those noodles up, mate, aren't you?
I don't think so.
I took my shoes off for those bloody noodles.